Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another very special this week pre-taped episode of Fast Charging with B&B. I'm Brian.
And I'm still Bear.
He's still Bear. What episode are we on? 54-ish?
55?
We've been doing this for a minute.
Mid 50s. Welcome back to episode mid 50s.
Yeah, very exciting times. Jumping right into it, did you see?
Let's do that.
Geely Zeekr is to enter the European market in 2023 with their 001 EV.
001. You know what? I'm going to get one when they come out with the 007 model.
You know, it's great. I don't know what they could possibly name their next car.
Yeah, they're going to have to really put together like one of those committees on that one.
It's a good-looking car, I think.
Yeah. Now, those pictures down below, it makes it look like it's a hatchback.
Well, I don't know what you call that form factor, but yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Like a fastback? I don't know what you would call that.
It looks pretty decent. It's almost got like an EV6 vibe to it, possibly.
It's almost got what's the new Porsche, the Taycan. There's a Taycan that's shaped like that.
A Taycan? I thought the Taycan was more S-shaped. Are you thinking of the Macan or Macan?
Maybe I am. Well, we should talk about that one later.
Why don't we?
Sandy has been saying China's coming, and Lars from Best in Tesla in Denmark has been saying China's here.
They're like Sandy says, they're going to eat our lunch, and it doesn't matter if we put it in the safe or anything. They are going to eat it. They're going to swallow it, eat it whole. They're not going to give us any. They're going to take our lunch money when they're done, so we can't buy anything else. So we need.
Yeah. And the only reason it's taken them so long is because they use chopsticks. Audi Q8 e-tron debuts as brand's flagship EV SUV, making up to 496 horsepower.
Yeah. That one is not as inspiring as the Geely, I'll be honest with you.
No.
I'm not sure what to think of those rims either.
Well, I assume you get some choices on those. It looks fine. It doesn't look great, but it's just really uninspired, and the specs are not there.
Uninspiring.
Yeah. And 496 horsepower is fantastic 10 years ago, maybe 15. 0 to 60 in 6 seconds.
Not every EV has to be a speedster. 6 seconds is a little bit on the slower side, slower than a Polestar, slower than a Hyundai, slower than an EV6, slower than slower than every Tesla. But that is a Q850. Now, if you get the SQ8, you're getting up to 4.5 seconds, or down to 4.5 seconds. But you're also losing on the range side. It looks like the middle on that is the Q855 with 5.6 seconds, but you also get 362 miles of range.
WLTP range, though. So
scratch off 20%.
But even still, if you're over 300, I think you're probably doing reasonably fine.
Yes, but
certainly in the European market.
Goes back to that awesome styling, though.
Yeah. Audi used to have really great styling, but this ain't it.
No, this is definitely not one to be like, look what I got. You know, what'd you get? You got a Honda CR-V? That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, Volvo's making cars that look like cars. I mean, they have 4 wheels. Of all the cars ever designed, this is one of them.
It looks like a Volvo. There's no question about that. That is also a little bit a lack of inspiration, though the back end taillights do look a little Polestar-ish. I'll give them that, which is nice, but it looks like a Volvo. It looks like you're going to be safe.
It does. It does indeed. So the interior looks nice. I don't know. Again, it's uninspired, and it's priced under $80,000.
Just under. 80,000.
Starting.
You got to really
Starting.
sell it.
I don't know how egregious they are with their options packages. I know Porsche likes to really go aggressive with that, where they have well, our base price is 80,000. Oh, how is it the way people actually buy it? Oh, it's way more than that. So
Oh, yeah.
140, 180, 200
Yeah.
if you like.
Yeah, yeah. We can get you anything you want.
Whatever you think is too much money is how much we will charge you.
Yeah, I'm wondering if on this Volvo in the back seat, if they have a transmission tunnel like the Polestar does.
Kind of
'Cause
hard to see. See all
I'm
41
going
photos.
through the picture. I found a picture. It looks like they deleted the transmission tunnel. Good job, guys.
That is, I see where you're at. Oh yeah, they finally did.
Oh. Those seats actually look kind of different. I don't know if they'd be comfortable or not, but I hope it doesn't have the hard plastic interior that the Polestar has.
And
Do you know that? Do you
these
know
might
that
not be final.
Yeah, the interior on the Polestar, if you rub your knuckles like on your door panel, it actually takes your dry skin off and leaves a white line
Well, that's
on there.
great. Exfoliating door panels.
Yeah,
They've
and
thought of everything.
you've got to use a wet rag to wipe that off. And every time I get the car back from a rental, I have to wipe everything down because there's dry skin everywhere. I just think that's a really nice feature.
They're doing things a little different.
Yeah, that is a little different. So if you're getting a Polestar, upgrade the interior because I think you get a softer material, one that doesn't chafe you.
So Porsche has divulges details on the 2024 Macan
Making,
EV, making bacon.
making bacon.
They are going aggressively into electric cars, and I'm here for it. This is exciting. Yeah. 603 horsepower, 738 pound-feet of torque. Earlier we were joking about the Audi's lackluster performance. The thing is, with an EV, the performance is a byproduct of having a substantial battery. There are very few cars with big batteries and low performance, or big performance and small batteries, because the two go hand in hand. So
And
this will get you good range.
Don't forget the motor element on that.
Well, yes, but the battery is the limiting factor. Making a motor a little bit bigger is much cheaper than increasing your battery by 50%.
Yeah, I think they try to keep those motors down in size so that they'll have more range.
Yes. And that was a efficiency question I saw raised with the Lucid is, how are their motors so small and yet so slow? They claim to have a ton of horsepower, but I asked Sandy about it, and he didn't have an answer because he hasn't torn one down. I said the Lucid has a higher horsepower and a lower top speed than the Tesla. Why isn't it quicker off the line? And he said, a million reasons.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I felt like the Lucid Air GT that I drove was quick off the line. I did not see any performance issues with that at all.
Well, no, but against the Plaid is absolutely faster. I've
Okay.
seen just a bunch of drag races.
Yeah.
And it just pulls every time.
Well, it's going to be. I think the GT comes in at like a 2.9 on the 0 to 60. Now there's the GT Performance. There was the Dream Edition. Those were faster cars. How much faster? I don't know. Can't tell you right now.
And the Sapphire's coming, so if you've got more money than sense.
We've got a car for you.
What's it look like?
It's blue. Baby blue. That's your color choice. Baby
Oh, is it
blue.
really? Well, it's Sapphire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know the Porsche electric Boxster was caught testing for the first time?
Car testing.
Yeah. Ooh. It looks great. It looks like what I guess I would hope.
Like
Little
a
more-
Porsche,
little-
like a Porsche Boxster.
Yeah. A little more grill than I was expecting. But if you look inside the grill, it looks functional.
Inside the grill.
Yeah, if you click on the gallery.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of zoomed in because that's what I did.
It looks like they are using it to cool the brakes, perhaps. And it could
Perhaps,
be that those
or
are louvers that close.
yeah, maybe that's how you get your AC. You're saving on power.
There was a road test to determine the range. It was on Lars' channel of of the Buzz Forks, and it performed so badly on the range that they charged it back up and retested it because clearly we did something wrong. And on the retest, they left all the climate controls off, and it just failed. It did not do good. It was like 40% under expected range in the real world test.
Yeah,
So
that's one of those. Yeah, they told the EPA what they got, and somebody stamped that, took the little envelope underneath the table, said, "Okay,
well, it is
sounds
all
good to us."
self-certified. They're all self-certified.
Right, right.
So don't need an envelope.
Well, they probably threw it in there for good measure. Don't
Any
come
other new
back in it.
cars?
Oh yeah, of course, of course. Not that this is a new one, but
It's
this is
more of
our
a
running.
boat, really.
It's our running theme for the last couple of weeks. Canoe,
Yeah.
canoe, and to begin commercial EV production after acquiring new Oklahoma facility. In case you guys didn't know, OKC is Oklahoma. It might even be Oklahoma City, right?
I think it
Uh,
is.
yeah,
Isn't that the airport code, maybe?
I think it is actually. So their lifestyle delivery vehicle is going to be produced in Oklahoma City, we believe. Yes, it does say Oklahoma City in the article, and it looks like they're still picking up orders. They've
Yeah.
got the Walmart order, the Ziba order, King Bee. So they've got commitments for over what is it, $2 billion, and 750 million of that is binding. So pretty nice start for someone that we thought was going to be gone really, really soon.
Yeah, and people have been spotting them on the roads. I've seen them with Walmart livery. We know that they're in use for astronaut transport for United Launch Alliance.
They don't put a lot of miles on.
No, no. And for something like that, I assume you get very good service because if those start giving you trouble, you fly someone out to fix it.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did you say ULA?
United Launch Alliance.
We're shuttling astronauts?
Well, they will be. They've already taken delivery of the canoes.
Okay. Because okay, they
Right.
haven't.
They're not
What?
crew rated yet.
So is Boeing launching on a ULA rocket?
The Starliner? I thought so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know since it never actually gets launched. It's hard to remember things like that.
Or maybe it was, yeah. Let's try ULA canoe. Because this is how we do really compelling. There it is. Yeah, there's a NASA canoe. It's NASA
Okay.
badged.
Of course.
Of course. Fine. So yeah, I'm excited. I hope this success continues because I think they're going to, if you can get them out, people are going to buy them. They're goofy, but they're different, and they're the only electric minivan currently on the market.
What were these going to be priced at?
I thought originally they weren't going to sell them. They were all
Then
going
why
to
were
be
they?
a fleet that you kept, that they
Okay.
kept. But I could be.
But it looks like they're selling them.
Yeah, because you don't have that kind of capital to keep that going. That's too much.
No, not at all. Unless they were doing rentals, I guess. Is that what you're getting at?
I don't know. But Rivian, they've got some good plant news going on, don't they?
Oh yeah. They're called delays. Delays. Yeah, they're making some potato chips there. They're making the Rivian delay, which production of new crossover at Georgia EV plant to 2026. I'm not sure what happened there, because this is locked. This is a locked article. What the hell?
Oh,
Where
your
did we get
article
this one
locked you
from?
out?
Yeah.
So they've got a
Now,
$1.5 billion incentive package to build this $5 billion factory. And it was supposed to be coming online pretty soon in 2025. That's not long out. And they're saying, well, we got to push it back a year. And I'll tell you, I think the reason is it was a factory for a third model, for a crossover SUV. And I just don't think they'll be ready to build one in 2025. They're still ramping. They're starting to move units. But they're trying to ramp two vehicles at once, which is difficult, expensive, and risky.
yes, it sure is. I mean, GM is basically doing the same thing with the Hummer, but they're not doing all that well at it. As a matter of fact, Rivian's doing better. But it really is just a body style change. You'd think GM would be better at doing that, but they can't make a Hummer in anything but white right now in the pickup version. So
That's, as far as we can tell, still true. I'm going to be so excited when I see one in another color.
it's going to be an ugly color.
Are they going to go with safety orange again? Well, if it's as big as a school bus, why not?
why not make it a school bus? Yeah, so Arizona was in quite a competition to get this, and of course they weren't willing to give away $1.5 billion in incentives, but they lost it out. They lost out to Georgia, or if they didn't lose out to Georgia, they probably would have lost out to Fort Worth. Nonetheless, they lost out, but still, it would have been years off.
And it's a little bit of a shame. If Rivian had ended up in Arizona, you would have an electric car maker hub there.
Oh yeah, we sure would have. That would have been exciting.
And then next you'd have the battery factories and the mines, and you'd have a lot more. You'd probably have local glass companies going up.
It could go on forever.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
get the brake pad, the brake pads from
Callahan.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, Big Tom Callahan. It's got a
Big
guarantee
Tom
on the
Callahan's
box.
brake pads.
I heard Zelensky bought them, but
Zelensky did buy them, but it really worked out for the workers very well.
yeah, yeah. I can see it's a shame, but Rivian can't say no to $1.5 billion, and Arizona can't say yes to it. That's just too much.
Well, I think the real reason for Rivian not coming to Arizona was they said there was a lack of engineer talent in Arizona.
I believe that
Which-
because a lot of the engineers are already taken.
Well, and that's true, but at the same time, now you're looking at whatever engineers they had in Georgia are going to have to wait till 2026-ish before. So, you're kind of making a prediction on the future whether or not they're actually going to be there or not. People are moving from the north and the northeast and the north and the west to the southwest and areas like that. So it's hard to say where it would actually be coming in the future. But whatever. We don't need you, Rivian.
Anybody
It's not
got
even
good news?
Not even a
on,
word.
Anybody got
Polestar's a
good news
word.
on production and whatn't?
Yeah, well,
Polestar.
Polestar is a word, and yeah, they've doubled their quarter three revenue, doubles with the quarter three revenue. That's typed incorrectly. Now's losses on strong deliveries, and apparently they have the Lucid style car covers. Very
Yeah, I was
nice.
surprised to see that. When I saw that, I thought this was a different article but no, yeah, I like that they still refer to them as a Swedish automaker.
Yeah, the made in China Swedish automaker that is owned by a Chinese company, mostly.
It's just like how my local bank is in Delaware. All banks are in Delaware.
Yeah,
The Swedish
Yes.
automaker reported a loss of 196 million, down from 292, while revenue is climbing. I think they're absolutely going to make it.
yeah, I do. And if they would make the inside of their cars a lot better, they'd really do well. I'm sorry.
It's a matter of taste.
It's
and
not a matter of taste.
Personally, I
It's a
have
matter of-
none.
Yeah, it's a matter of functionality. And I complained about this last week, but to have a huge console in the middle of the car that extends all the way to the trunk for your imaginary transmission tunnel, and they have the least functional center console getting an echo
Are you?
of me. Yeah.
Well, I don't hear it. I don't. It's not
Okay,
on my
let's
end.
try it again. Okay, it went away. They have the least functional center console of any car that I have driven in the last couple of years, except for maybe my Vanderhall Venice that doesn't have a center console, no cup holders. This car has one cup holder for the front row, and there you have to flip up the console lid, which by the way is only this big, in order to get to the second one. Not only that, with that lid closed, it actually slides forward. So you could adjust your elbow rest. I think that's cool, except it goes right into the cup holder that you only have the one cup holder you have left will then get crushed if you have like a plastic cup.
Right. Or a aluminum can.
Anything really would get crushed. I mean, a lead pipe would get crushed by this thing. I don't know what they're thinking. It looks great. Least functional center console I've ever seen.
So I'm looking at the pictures here, and yeah, I see what you mean about it. Does look good, but that cup holder is conspicuously problematic. And one cup holder. Hey man, I'm used to the minivan life. I've got 4 just right here, and another 2 in the door for water bottles. That's just the front row. I'm at 6 already.
Yeah. Yeah, if I don't have 7 cup holders, because I want choices, I'm trying to find a picture of that cup holder. Where did you find that?
There's a 66 photo gallery, and it is over a ways. There's
Yeah,
a good
okay.
40, 50 pictures of the exterior.
All right, I'm on picture number 40, and you can see the cup holder right there. That's where your one cup holder is. And then you see that little console for where you put your elbow?
Yes?
That literally slides towards the shifter. So if you brake hard while your elbow's on it, it actually moves forward.
Right. Well, these are all. If we don't put these problems in, what improvements could we offer on the next generation? The
It-
2023 should fix these issues.
You want to hear another complaint? And I do like the car. Trust me, I like this more than the Hyundai.
Yeah.
Go to picture number 48.
Okay. And what am I looking at?
Well, question, what are you looking at? Try and find me the center vents for the air conditioning unit.
So in the gallery I'm looking at, 48. Okay, let me get there. Oh, too far. Are they behind the screen?
Yes, they are.
That's terrible. So they just blow on the screen all day.
I think so. I think they're supposed to go over it and maybe somehow come back to you by some sort of magic. Like the Tesla has the magic vents that I still don't know how they work, which I think is still incredible, and I do think it's magic. So, but I mean, I think I feel it, but I'm not sure. Because if you look at it, they kind of go over the screen, but if they're going over the screen, they're going to miss you. So
I think the screen ended up slightly bigger than they expected.
Yeah, maybe. And by the way, that's iPad Generation 1, because you see that the black edges on that.
Real thick.
Yeah, that's Generation 1 iPad. And as time went on, the screen got closer to the edge. So I know it's an Android operating system, so it's obviously an Android. But I still like the car. I have some other serious issues, but I don't know. I think we're probably wasting too much time on this.
I think so too. Do you know that Volkswagen has finally sold their 500,000th electric car?
And they are so proud that they went ahead and had their marketing team make a PowerPoint slide on this and then put a bunch of numbers on the bottom.
You think
of
that a
something.
professional made this? Because it looks
I didn't-
like I photoshopped it.
I didn't say a professional made it.
Oh,
I said
oh.
I said they had their marketing team. I didn't say that they were professional.
That's a good point. And this isn't all electric cars. It's just the ID models. This doesn't include the e-Golf, which sold reasonably well. That would make a noticeable dent in these numbers. The ID.6, boy, that's going to be hotly anticipated. Got to get that to the European market.
Yeah, that actually doesn't look too bad.
No, I like it. For the form
Yeah.
factor, I think that's as good as you're going to do.
Yeah. I don't see too many ID.4s around, but when I do see them, I'm just kind of, it's kind of like another one of those, not very exciting. But if you're just looking for an electric car and don't care what your car looks like, it's perfect.
Huh? Yep, that's their slogan. That's, I think they borrowed it from Chevy.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Volkswagen cars have never, to me, been very inspiring. I mean, you look at the Passat, you look at the, what is that, the
Scirocco?
Tijuana, well, there's, you're going back really
I'm
far.
going real far back. No,
Yeah,
lately, a Jetta is not a bad looking car, but it's not exciting.
yeah. Nothing about Volkswagen is extremely exciting. But you know what? They've got Audi, they've got Porsche. They can make the exciting cars under those lines, I guess.
Yeah,
That,
and I think that's their plan.
I think so too. Because,
But at least
but
they're efficient.
efficient, like a Hummer.
Yeah. So this user on Reddit, Captain Ramius, distance driven, 47 miles, energy used, more than a house.
So that's pretty much saying they're using what? They're getting 2 miles per kilowatt.
Yeah. Yeah. How's that compare?
Oh, not really that awful. I mean, Model S is going to get 3 miles per kilowatt.
So 50% better.
Yeah. Well, when you put it like that,
when you use actual numbers.
yeah.
And a reminder for those tuning in late, we are not live, we are pre-taped. Just so you know.
Did you see that comment?
Yeah,
What?
thank you, JJ.
Yeah. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. You owe me
Super
now.
chats. You remember those?
Yeah.
Good times.
So how long would it take you to get those 24 kilowatts back?
Well, the Hummer charges, it moves a lot of juice pretty quick if you get the right charging station. It's got to be pretty quick, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The problem is these work on like an Electrify America network, so you'll never find the right charging station because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So the Hummer's got a pack that's over 200 kilowatts. So that guy barely even skimmed the surface of how much range he had. So that's the bright side because they have a very large pack. Packing one large. Anyway, but 200 kilowatts, if you were to charge that, that would cost a lot of money. What was it? What was the number on it?
Down at the bottom
'Cause
of the page, the Electrify America session billed Kyle for 224 kilowatt hours, $100 to fill her up.
And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, you don't use charging stations.
Yeah. It goes on to say he would have paid $16 at home, which is magical. Fill up a beast like that for $16? Magical.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really something to consider if you're looking to save money. But I don't think if you're buying a Hummer, you're looking to save money. Now, I'm fortunate because I have solar. And if I was going to fill up 224 kilowatts, it would cost me just under $9. So, still not great. Because I think it took me like 2 months of charging my Model Y to get to $9. And that would be for one fill up on the Hummer compared to like 2 months on a Model Y.
Yeah. And you sun farmers are just the worst.
We are.
The Hummer did a drag race against the Rivian.
And this is what makes it worth it.
Well, what did you think was going to happen?
Um, I honestly was not sure. I know that the Hummer was fast, and I never really looked into the Rivian specs, and I didn't know if they had their fastest ones out yet because I know that they've delayed so many different features, so I wasn't sure which ones they had out yet. So to see them pretty much even was the result of this.
Real
Um,
close. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm telling you, the inside of that Hummer looks really cool with the old style T tops, glass T tops up there.
Yeah.
I think that, and to be able to take all that off, it's got a lot more flexibility as far as a truck goes than say the Rivian. But
Right.
you're not paying that much more for it when it comes down to it.
For me, it's more about the size. I, I just, it's just, the Hummer's just a big, big beast.
As big as you think. Have you haven't seen one yet,
No,
have you?
you know what? I don't think I have. No, there wasn't one at fully charged, so I did not see one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm just generally not a fan. But yeah,
Not
for to spoil this for anyone listening, because that's perhaps a thing, the Hummer took best 2 out of 3. The Rivian did win one of them, but they're both very quick, especially considering the sheer girth of these girls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is definitely a size difference between the two, weight and girth. But also for the record, let it be known that I don't think that Brian likes Hummers. So
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Any good news going on in the great state of Alabama?
Alabama. Well, yeah, no. I mean, a $2.45 million grant awarded by the governor. Um, that's not a lot for charging infrastructure now, is it?
No, it's better than nothing, but you're going to get, depending who you hire, 20 stalls across 4 or 5 locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
it looks like going through the list here, they all look like two base stations.
Yeah.
They also don't mention the speed. Here's a six bay station at a Holiday Inn. But like I said, the speeds of these chargers are not noted here. But I will say, from what I've read, the South is very light on EVs. They are not big fans of EVs because you can't wrench on it, I think.
Right.
But and that's fine. Not criticizing them for that, but you keep wrenching on your gas powered 72 Pinto, and I will blow anything away in the Model S.
Yeah.
Well, not anything. I mean, you could really get a little crazy when you're wrenching.
Well,
But
I hear complaints. I'll never buy, a Tesla because I can't fix it myself. Well, the first thing is it doesn't break that much. And if it's something significant, I guarantee you on any new car, you can't fix it yourself. They're all computers on wheels now. There was a call in to Car Talk years ago where a guy said, I'm thinking of getting rid of my whatever car and just buying an antique, Chevy Impala or something and making that my everyday driver because I can fix it myself. And he said, yes, but you'll have to.
yeah,
So don't do it. Just get a new car.
yes, I agree with you. We have a another comment in the chats wondering what they're doing about solar power in France. Great segue, right?
Oh my God, I love that one. That was really good. Well, actually, Bear, it's great that who was that? That was Williams asked that. France to require all large parking lots to be covered by solar panels.
What between 80 and 400 space? Oh, they've actually. It looks like they've already. Uh, they're backdating this.
They're backdating it. If you have an existing parking lot that holds more than 80 cars, good news, You're putting up solar panels.
Wow.
Wow.
I really hope you charge for parking.
Yeah.
'Cause that is, I gotta say, that is a little not fair, to
Well,
put it.
it's no problem though. They're giving them tons of time. They have 5 years. 5. To get
Okay.
all of them. There aren't enough installers, I will tell you.
Okay.
Would
But
you
there's
agree?
also, suppose, just hypothetically, um, you're running a business and you have a
Right.
couple hundred employees, and the cost of solar panels is not exactly cheap.
Right.
I mean, especially for large scale like this. So you could be telling a business that they now have to spend a few hundred thousand to $1 million on their parking lot. Now, I understand that there's long-term savings over this, but that is still, you're telling a company that they have to do this, they have to incur this cost, whether they like it or not.
Right.
Instead
And
of
you're already
letting,
running on this margin for your, that's great for the supermarket or the large retailer, but for the dying mall.
yeah,
But I'm just telling you now, there's not going to be enough installers, and the installers know they got you by the short and curlies.
yeah, I mean, there's so many factors in this. It's a great idea, even to say for a new building to have this is one thing, but to tell a company that is, the local Piggly Wiggly, which is just getting by, and saying, yeah, oh yeah, you can have 400 parking spots. They're like, but no one ever parks here. We only have 20 customers at a time.
Right.
Cover them all.
This is a legacy parking lot. You've seen old places like that, of course. The parking lot in front of Spirit Halloween is empty
Yeah,
almost all year.
right, right. I didn't know you had Spirit Halloweens
Oh,
in
it's
your neck of the woods,
it's
but yeah, we have them too.
yeah, it's I'm quite sure they're coast to coast.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought they were just like some carny thing that just came
They're owned
around
by
my
Spencer
place.
Gifts. You
Oh,
might know from the mall
yeah.
as your premier uh, place to buy fart spray and things I
Thanks for
won't.
reminding me. I am all out of fart spray and I need to get some more.
I've got
Um,
other things you might like.
yeah, and the last thing we should note on this, car parks with more than 400 spaces, well, you get less time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, part of this I think comes back to the natural gas crunch out of Ukraine and Russia. They're
Well,
really
so what's
desperate to
so now they
transition.
will have a solar panel crunch. Good idea.
Yeah. Well, no, they'll have both.
Yeah, right.
Which Taco Bell would call a double crunch supreme. Good
Can
news,
you get that
California
at Taco Bell?
what? What?
You get that at Taco Bell?
No.
The
Good
double
news,
crunch supreme?
California got to vote on whether or not to increase taxes a little bit on some very rich people to pay more money for electric cars. How'd that go?
Failed. I'm surprised that failed.
I am
Just from
surprised.
the perspective of Californians, I would not be for that personally,
Yeah.
but that doesn't matter. But I thought California would have leaned into something like that. So I'm surprised that it did fail.
Yeah, the tax would only apply to 43,000 of the state's richest taxpayers, and it would tax them at 1.75% on income above 2 million. But if you figure, let's say you're a movie star, you know, 2% of $10 million is a lot of dollars.
Yeah, and if you were in a a high bracket like that, would you not go, well, I don't think I'm going to live here anymore?
Yes, that is exactly why I would have voted against it, is because some of those very rich people, one of them comes to mind, I can't remember his name right now, I've seen him on Twitter, left the state for just that reason, is because
Yeah.
the income tax is, in his particular situation, quite high.
Yeah. So if you got someone who's making $2 million a year or more than that a year, there's a good chance that they have more than one home. And it doesn't take much to go, my other home in Texas, Colorado, pick a state, any state, I'm going to make that my primary residence now. And that's the way we're going to do it. And that's the first step to not being taxed this amount of money. So,
The reason Amazon is headquartered in Washington state is because, according to Jeff Bezos, he picked it because there's no state income tax.
what does that tell you?
That Jeff Bezos is a very real person and not some kind of human suit worn by a bunch of raccoons, and that he's definitely going to space.
It doesn't tell me any of those things.
Oh,
It,
okay.
it tells me that there is some planning and thought about where to base your headquarters
Yeah.
and where you're going to suddenly have thousands of employees. Maybe not suddenly, but the potential to have thousands of employees. And now they're all in Washington, not in California.
Yeah.
And eventually, those, what is it, 43,000 taxpayers in the state would be affected by that. But then maybe in 5 years, it's going to be like, well, there's only 31,000 people that are going to be affected by that.
Right.
Now we're going to have to go to like 2.75, or we're going to have to lower it down to 1.5 million so that we can keep that base. Different things like that.
Right.
And then it just there's creep on that. It just
It's
keeps
a death
creeping
spiral.
into.
Yeah. They've already got a state income tax that does hit the highest earners quite heavily, to the point where I would have thought Hollywood would have left by now, but it's just it'd be too much work to move the entire place.
Well, in a sense that they have, because there are so many places that film in other places. And if
Georgia.
that's their state, Georgia was the one I was thinking of. Texas is not far off. But if they're filming in other places, that's where they're actually working. And that's where they would get taxed in.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of good ones left we should probably get to.
Yeah, let's do that.
You had this one on the new tax credit rules. We've covered this before. This is more simplified. Talk to me.
Yeah, so this actually goes over what was covered on August 15th and what was covered on August 16th, because his numbers fell when the law was actually passed, and then what it goes down to January 1st of 2023. And so it just explains it a lot simpler, because when it first came out, it was like, well, if this is like this and that's like that, then you got to take this and put it over here and make sure you have a contract before this date, then you're fine. Then you're fine. But this actually kind of straightens it all out. Very simplified version of this on carandriver.com. And I highly recommend looking at it to find out if you're about to purchase an EV, to see what is
So I'll tell
available for
you,
you.
my big complaint is if your EV or plug-in hybrid has a battery of at least 7 kilowatt hours, you get the full 7,500.
Is that your complaint over the tax credit or the
I think that's
that-
way too generous for a plug-in that can only go 20 miles before the battery is depleted.
Yeah, it is. But it has to be a plug-in as opposed to just
That's
a
true. At least there's an option.
Yeah. So is there, do you know what the minimum vehicle out there, out of the ones that qualify of the plugins, what the smallest battery is?
I do not. I do not follow the plug-in hybrids kind of at all.
Okay. Well, I have constantly bashed plug-in hybrids.
You'd never buy one. You swore to
yeah.
me I would never, if I ever bought one, slap me. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's what you said.
So Brian's coming to town to slap me. I'm trying to make a new window here at the same time I'm talking to you, so I can look up
Sure.
the kilowatts. But yeah, I bought a plug-in hybrid this weekend. A 20. I wanted the vehicle because it was a hybrid, and I didn't realize at first that the Chrysler Pacifica hybrids are all plug-in hybrids. So there's no option for a hybrid by itself. They're all plug-ins. And when I was looking at the car, I was like, "Oh, there's a charging port in a hybrid? Is this a plug-in?" And then when I started looking it up, doing this much research, that I found out that their hybrids only come in a plug-in version, which gives you 40 miles of range. Was convenient for me because I already had I have two chargers installed at my house, and so I could just plug it in. Um, and I looked at the when I looked at the car, I was like, all right, this is well, the price was a good deal, but after I bought it and I drove it around for a day, I looked at the trip meter and I found out that the last person before they had reset the trip meter, they had done some 800 miles. And even though this was a plug-in hybrid, about 550, 600 of those miles were all on battery, and the rest were on the gas engine itself.
So
Okay.
getting some experience with it has given you a new perspective.
I'm going to disagree with that. I don't have a different perspective. I still think that they should be skipped. We don't need to make a little safety ramp for people going from gas powered to EV powered. The little ramp was hybrids. Okay, they they don't need the plug-in hybrid. They don't need all the technology put into the plug-in hybrids that you can't even find. I couldn't find one. I could not buy a hybrid Chrysler Pacifica new when I looked for them because they didn't have the parts for them.
Well, we still
So
got some good stories to get through. This
yeah,
is a neat graphic here.
I don't really like these stories, so let me keep rambling. No, I'm just kidding.
The key minerals in an EV battery. We're just going to link this. It's pretty neat. It shows everyone's like, oh, those dirty lithium mines. Shut up. Shut up. The lithium, where is it? Right here. 6 kilograms. I've seen numbers a little higher than that, but I guess it depends on which chemistry we're looking at here. More aluminum than I realized, but it doesn't show up because it's one of the cheaper parts of it. Some steel, some copper. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think there's more lithium in in Walgreens than there is in a battery. Just
Yeah.
saying.
And lithium is quite abundant. Do you know there's a proposed mine that presents a climate versus environment conflict?
Yeah, and wow, you can't have everything, can you?
No. No. And whiners are going to whine. But guys, we got to do something.
Yeah. So let's save the environment and not make something that can save the environment.
Right. The, you know, you're pushing us towards alternatives that are worse, I assure you. But whatever. Fine. Whatever.
Yeah, there's no winning. So apparently now I know of two lithium mines, possibly a third, that are like in the
On
works
hold.
in the United States. I'm sure there's more, but you've got the Salt City or the Salt
Salton
Sea,
Sea
Saltons. Yeah,
in
that's got
yeah,
in
California.
California.
Yep.
That's got a mother effing buttload of lithium there.
Yeah.
There's a place outside of Phoenix, probably about 50, 60 miles, where
There's
they're working on a
one in
lithium
like
mine.
Utah or Nevada up there that's
Yeah.
also on hold. Guys,
And
guys.
what's gonna stop uh, the lithium mines from creating batteries to save the planet? Environmentalists.
Yeah, it's
It's just like the same thing that's going on in Berlin with the environmentalists trying to stop Tesla.
they're not doing very well, by the way. The
No,
environmentalists, I mean. Did you see they took down the forest?
I did not watch it, but
Oh,
the last
it's
time I
going
watched them take
so
down the forest, they got
fast.
some cool machines that do
It's
that.
so fast. It's Do you know that Tesla's opening its EV charge connector in the hopes of making it the new standard? So I guess this wasn't one of the patents that was made available in the past. And I'm kind of the mind that this might be too little too late.
Yeah, I see it being very difficult for them to get this to swap. I think the only thing that could really help them, besides opening it up, is to go to other car manufacturers and say, "Hey, Kia or Hyundai, even GM, say, hey, we want your vehicles to have our plug. You'll have access to our entire Tesla supercharging network overnight. We'll give you 5% of the profits on the supercharging, and all you got to do is have our plug."
Oh, I'd go
And
one step further and say you get 0% of the profits, but your customers can actually drive their darn cars now.
yeah, well, you could use that. You could start at zero, but it's something that you'd be willing to give up because you've spent all the time in the world making this supercharging network that is better than anything that's out there, but it only works for one car. So get it to work for all the cars. Now you get a whole lot more money coming in. Start building more charging stations. You get the government incentive because that's one of the things that it's holding Tesla back on getting the government money because it has to work for more than one car.
Right.
So you get one other major manufacturer onto this and offer them whatever you need to. Just get that first one. The
But
first one will give you a kickback.
but these only go up to like 350 kilowatts.
Is that what you heard?
Yep. Boy, this
Not
picture's pretty obscene. I feel like I should blur this one. Yeah. It points to up to 900 kilowatts of potential total output. That would be wild. And that's
That'd be
before
wild.
introduction of liquid cooling.
Yeah. Well, what vehicles could handle that right now?
Right now, the only one I can think of that goes over about 400 would be the Tesla to hold
Tesla
rare event
Semi.
for Tesla Semi. Deliveries December 1st. I sent a request to see if I could go to this event. I have
And
not
have
heard
you
back.
heard back yet?
No, I do not expect to hear back, but it's worth a
I'll
shot.
tell you. I'll tell you what. I cordially invite you to the Tesla Semi event.
Yeah,
If
that's
you'd like, I'll put that in writing, and you could bring that as your ticket.
yeah.
It could work.
Yeah, I did do what Martin said and verified my shares through the investor relations website. Yeah. We'll be doing a random draw where one share equals one entry. There's people with like 1 million shares, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not 1 million, but
Yeah.
yeah. I know I've met quite a few people who have millions of dollars in Tesla shares. So we'll see.
Yeah. But now they have a little bit less. Rough week on the market, huh?
Yeah. That's what I should do is I should reach out to everyone I know who's got a bunch of shares and doesn't want to go. That would be helpful. So yeah, there'll be an event that's happening December 1st. I assume that's going to be in Nevada, right? Well, I guess I should have thought of that before. It doesn't even say where.
No, it doesn't. It's going to be random.
It's also a random drawing. Every
Yeah.
city gets one entry per person. And yeah, so it's going to be somewhere. That would just make it somewhere in Southern California, I bet. Uh-huh. You can, I'll take over here. Elon Musk mentions Tesla's potential affordable EV platform. This is blown out of proportion. It's an offhand comment. This interview did not, in my opinion, go well. They kept trying to ask him questions that had already been answered as fully as he was willing to answer them. And boy, they really pushed him. Indonesia. Come on, baby. Say yes. He's like, yeah, I'm not saying anything.
Well, if there's one person that might slip and say something, it is him.
He has been known to.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be an affordable EV platform at some point, whether Tesla's making it or somebody else. The technology is converging. People are finally learning lessons from other manufacturers. It's happening. It's going to happen. Today is not the day.
Sorry, guys. Sit back and wait.
There is a story I'm kind of rushing because I kind of want to get to.
And is it how I drive?
It's a video of how Bear drives. Tesla China responds to dramatic crash that kills two. So if you haven't seen this video, maybe watch it, maybe don't. It's really brutal and shocking and upsetting. Essentially what happens is this gentleman pulls over to the side of the road, looks like he's going to stop, and as he's slowing down, it appears he's using regenerative braking to slow down. When he goes to put his foot on the brake, it appears his foot's not on the brake, and he floors it. and keeps the pedal all the way down for about 47 seconds until he, at an outrageously high rate of speed, crashes and stops.
Yeah, there was several people killed in this incident, and there's a lot. The YouTube video that I saw was titled "Brake Failure." You can see it on my screen right here. Tesla brake failure. But it is clear through the apparently China's watching everything you do. So not only was there a view of the entire drive, but there was a view of like every angle, including inside. No, there was not one inside the cab, but there was angles from every direction, and you don't see much in the way of brake lights. It does not look like it was a brake failure because there was no braking going on. So, assuming if there was a car malfunction and there was unintended acceleration, simply hitting the brake, even if it didn't work, would still show the brake lights were being hit. But it doesn't show that. So, there's rumors of, floor mats, toys getting stuck behind
Water bottle.
water bottle. But one thing is probably pretty obvious is that it wasn't the car.
No, even if something is stuck under the brake that would prohibit it from being fully depressed, it would deactivate whatever autonomy is going on. You know how, and the early reports, there's good money in hating Tesla. And the user who posted this all over Reddit on like 7-8 different subreddits is Chinese. He posts in Chinese subs. He believes that anyone standing up for independence for Taiwan is a traitor and should be killed. He is very Chinese. And he posted these, and a lot of them were just asking questions. A lot of them were making very bold assertions. And it's crazy that the car can bypass your brake system. Yeah, that would be crazy. That's not the case. Anyone who's ever driven a Tesla or owned one, driven one for more than a few hours, knows how impossible you would have to have a complete brake failure and a failure that's never been seen on the acceleration side.
Yeah, when you say complete brake failure, besides the actual brakes, you would have to have, there's just another switch that's independent. It's a brake light switch. Every car has one. And it is something that when you step on the brake, a mechanical switch is pushed and it tells the brake lights to turn on. It could also tell the vehicle to come out of park. And in the case of a Tesla, it's going to tell the Tesla that you can actually come out of park and go to drive or reverse. That switch, besides controlling those other features, have to control the lights. That's how the car knows to turn on the brake lights. So that would have had to fail, which is a completely independent thing. Unless there was like this crazy little bug in there that says, let's make everything related to the brake and tied into the computer fail.
But you will find hundreds and hundreds of comments saying, oh, really? Then why were the brake lights on the entire time?
Yeah, but they weren't.
They weren't. Those are the running lights. You can tell. The brake light has a third light in the middle that was not activated in any of the pictures I saw. And guys were, oh, look, I screenshotted it. Yeah, that doesn't show anything.
I'm going to run the video.
Yeah, I think I am too. So you've been warned, don't watch it.
Yeah.
It's 44 seconds long, and you can see coming up to a stop, and I slam on the gas, and now I freak out. And he's just hammer down. He's going faster and faster. If he was pushing on the brakes, they'd be smoking, and he'd be going slower. Oh God, yeah. It's so hard to watch. And 2 people did die in the course of this, according to this article. So many. Oh, that's probably one of them. Oh.
Yeah. It's another interesting part of this is that it was all footage captured from government CCTVs.
I don't think it was, because the timestamps are not synchronized, telling me that those are all offline cameras. I think those cameras were all gathered from individual securities along the way. You think they're, and also the quality doesn't match.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting that they manage. Somebody
that somebody managed to pull together that many independent clips.
Right. That wasn't some guy who's like just interested in what happened. That was somebody who worked for the government, pulled all those clips together.
And added music.
Well, of course, you gotta have music.
Yeah.
For all your Faces of Death videos.
Yeah. It is complete nonsense. It is dishonest, and it is capitalizing on the deaths of innocent people in a way that is ghoulish and unsavory and should not be done. And apparently, according to Ray for Tesla on Twitter, as of today, we know that the logs have been examined and that the brake was applied in advance as he was stopping and then not applied again. It was pedal to the metal, as expected, as anyone who's driven a Tesla or even really just driven. My wife did that once when she was driving the old minivan. She doesn't like to drive. I made her drive. She pulled into a parking spot, had her foot on the gas instead of the brake, right up onto the curb. Am I going to blame Tesla for my Pontiac Montana's failure?
Well, if you can't take responsibility for your actions, that's what you do.
Yeah, and that's what people have done over and over, and it's exhausting. So,
Yeah.
I am, for the uninitiated, I am out of town. I am on my way to the great state of California, where I'll be going to the Peterson Auto Museum for the opening of their Tesla exhibit, and I'll also be attending the LA Auto Show. So that'll be fun. So that's why we pre-taped.
Yes, and for those of you that are uninformed, I will not be going to any of those events. The work furlough doesn't let me leave the state, so, got to stay within the lines of the probation that have been set down. So
Yeah.
I'll be staying here and covering the home base with for Brian while he cavorts around the world.
Yeah, because I'm a real jet-setting cool guy. That's the facts. So thanks to my
Yes.
Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. Thanks to Bears, too. He's got pretty cool patrons. I've met some.
They are pretty cool. And like I've always said, they're cooler than yours, but that's because they're mine. So I want to thank my Patreons also for being so awesome. I want to thank everyone who commented in the chat, because this is probably one of our busiest live sessions ever. Oh, wait a minute. Did we tape this?
Oh, you said you recorded it. I didn't record it.
Oh, I didn't record it.
Oh, you didn't record it. See, that joke doesn't work because obviously people are watching it. That's what you got to do is start the next one saying,
Yeah.
"Oh man, okay, third time. Let's record this."
Third time. All right, yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah. Thanks to
That's
everybody
it.
for hanging out. I set mine as a premiere, so there's still comments going on mine. I don't know what about you. But get that figured out.
I don't know how to work that stuff. So,
Yeah. All right.
It's off to bed for me.
Well, thank you, Bear, for hanging out.
Thank you, Brian. It was a pleasure, as always.
Of course. And I will be back next week. We'll be live.
All right. Fantastic. I love live.